Everybody. 15 minutes ago, the Daily Wire terminated its relationship with Candace Owens. Candace has been an incredibly powerful voice for conservatives for years. Unfortunately, it's become more and more clear, and it's now unavoidably so, that Candace has moved in a direction that the Daily Wire simply cannot and will not support.
Now, that's leaked video, and I'll play more of it later. Now, 15 minutes after Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire, the co-CEO at the time, Jeremy Boring, now that's who we watched in the video, led a town hall at the Daily Wire to explain why Owens was fired. Let's watch.
Mostly, but by no means all of this tarnishment to our brand stems from Candace's flirting with, winking at, and even directly engaging in content widely viewed as anti-Semitic, and from associating herself with well-known anti-Semites. The Daily Wire, contrary to public opinion, is not owned by Jews. In fact, the majority of it is owned by Christians, myself included.
Now, he says Candace Owens tarnished the Daily Wire's brand. Now, later in the video, he explains that her employment contract required her to conduct herself in a manner that didn't tarnish the brand. So let me explain that in a nutshell. She was fired for the same reason why anyone is fired from any company: insubordination. Now, on this channel, I analyze complex events and social dynamics, and I share insights to benefit everyone who watches these videos. So, according to news reports, Owens was fired by the Daily Wire in March of 2024 after months of public conflict with staff members, including the co-founder, Ben Shapiro. Now, in the leaked video, we've watched the very Christian co-CEO of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, say he fired Candace Owens because of her conduct, which included anti-Semitic conduct, which is repugnant to all Christians. Now, Candace Owens herself claims to be Catholic, but her workplace behavior was morally reprehensible and, needless to say, failed to meet the standards of her own stated religious beliefs. Now, Owens' firing gives us a classic example of a lack of respect for authority, which is what insubordination is. Now, the leaked video describes multiple instances of anti-Semitic conduct by Candace Owens. Let's watch.
A few examples from just the last few weeks. Candace appeared on the Fresh and Fit podcast, which itself spews anti-Semitism and talks about the JQ, which means the Jewish question, routinely. And Candace said nothing while the host played a cha-ching cash register sound at the mention of any Jew or Israel, including Ben Shapiro's wife. We have a clip here of that for you.
He is very passionate about Israel. He's married to an Israeli. I mean, that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Only a few weeks before that, Candace lamented, quote, DC Jews, who she says are Marxists and monsters, and who, quote, want nothing more than political power and need to be weeded out. Then just last week, Candace liked a post on X from an account called Christ Gnosis, asking if a well-known rabbi is, quote, drunk on Christian blood again. I don't claim to know what's in Candace's heart. What I know, as I've said, is that she has been flirting with, winking at, and even directly engaging in content that's widely viewed to be anti-Semitic, and even worse, known and unabashed anti-Semites seem to have taken a real liking to her. They routinely celebrate her, invite her on their podcasts, like her X posts, and retweet them, and she frequently reciprocates.
Now, there are further examples. Let's watch.
But most troubling to me is Candace's deeply disingenuous use of the term Christ is King. As best I can tell, her first use of this term publicly was in response to Ben. If you recall, Ben was asked at a small private event in a Jewish home how he felt about Candace's behavior post-October 7th. Ben was caught on camera saying that he found her behavior disgraceful and disreputable. That day, Candace posted a verse from the New Testament that man cannot serve both God and money, with a follow-up comment of Christ is King. The remark was widely interpreted as a rebuke of Ben and to mean that Candace could not be bought off by Jewish Ben Shapiro. She and her opinions are in service to God. Ben responded in anger. He said that if Candace believed her contract with the Daily Wire was standing between her and God, she could quit.
She could quit, most definitely, but she didn't. Now, Owens was being openly anti-Semitic toward the co-founder of the company she worked for. Now, did she want to continue working there? Obviously not. She left them no choice but to fire her. Now, let's listen to what else she did to tarnish the brand.
weeks ago. Of course, it's not just her associations with anti-Semitism that are damaging to our brand. Over the last few months, Candace has embraced the worst conspiracy theories and the worst people. When she traveled to Romania to interview Andrew Tate, Caleb was clear that we wouldn't pay for her to rehabilitate a pornographer, con man, and an accused rapist. Candace assured him that hers would not be a softball interview. But of course it was. Candace not only allowed Andrew Tate to misrepresent his past statements and the charges against him, she helped him do so. Last week, Candace put out a long tweet trying to frame her position not as supporting the Tate brothers, but simply as being fair-minded about the charges brought against them. That might have been more convincing if she had ever said a single negative thing about them, or if she hadn't liked, responded to, or retweeted them 73 times in the months since the interview. I want to be clear about this. Andrew and Tristan Tate are very bad men who have boasted and even sold courses teaching how to manipulate women through sex into doing pornography for your profit.
Now, Andrew Tate built an online reputation for being a misogynist. He's also facing criminal charges for rape, human trafficking, assault, and controlling prostitution. Now, apparently, in an attempt to evade the criminal charges, he obtained citizenship in the nation of Vanuatu through investment. Now, that was in 2022. But in 2025, the government of Vanuatu said it's looking into revoking his passport, meaning denaturalization. Now, Owens has championed Andrew Tate for some reason. Let's listen to more.
And of course, Candace has recently said that she's willing to stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that French President Macron's wife was born a man, despite the claims already having been proven false in French courts. The lady has 3 children. She and her brother, whom the conspiracy theorists suggest is actually her, jointly sued and won against the people who first popularized the conspiracy theory in France.
Now, I've covered the Macron case on this channel. I don't know why Owens has become so obsessed with Brigitte Macron's sexuality. Now, she's the First Lady of France. And I don't know why Owens wants to exonerate Andrew Tate, who's been indicted credibly for multiple sex crimes. Now, the leaked video indicates that Jeremy Boring takes his faith very seriously. Now, let's listen to his defense of the Christian faith, and he describes also the legal grounds for firing Owens after she willfully tarnished the brand.
Please tell me what then is meant by the 3rd commandment. Thou shalt not carry forth the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Surely if one were to rape and murder someone, like Hamas did on October 7th, but all the while shouted to the dying person that Christ is king, we would all agree that 3 horrible crimes were committed. Rape, yes. Murder, yes. But also the crime of implementing God in the first 2 crimes. That's carrying forth the name of the Lord in vain. That's what anti-Semites are doing when they say Christ is king. Christ is king, sure enough. And he recommends himself in our struggles, not us in our petty, nudge, nudge, wink, wink anti-Semitism. All of this has badly tarnished the brand and reputation of the Daily Wire and of me personally as the front-facing CEO. One need only revisit the thousands of virulently and overtly hateful commenters celebrating what they see as Candace's turn against the Jews, the remarks from Nick Fuentes, the myriad stories written in journals from Mediaite to the Washington Examiner to the Jewish Journal to the Times of Israel, the New York Post, the Daily Mail, and on, or from the many, many people disappointed with the Daily Wire and with me and even with Ben for not acting sooner to see how badly marred our reputation has become. And so we're ending our relationship with Candace effective immediately.
Now, being respectful in our social relationships is a must. Now, most people understand this. Owens wasn't respectful, failing to meet even the minimal social standards for workplace conduct. Now, behaving like the employee from hell, in other words. And her behavior tarnished the brand. Now, by violating the terms of her contract, she was insubordinate and rightly fired from her job. So what are the lessons we can learn? Now, we have to be respectful within any relationship if we want the relationship to continue. We are all unique and important people, yes, but to keep it real, we're not indispensable in the workplace, none of us. Now, the job gives us a structured environment within which we can use our abilities, and the boss pays us to do that. So if there's a disagreement with the boss, who prevails? Okay, if the boss is inclined to hear our side of the argument, we can try to make our case by being persuasive. But beyond that, if the boss isn't persuaded, we have to submit to authority or we can quit. Okay, most employment agreements work that way. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.